So since embarking Viva One, I was obsessed with going through a lock. I was just intrigued to see what it was like. And I woke up at 4:30 on the first sort of overnight stay on board and looked out of the window and there was a big wall there. So I was like, oh my gosh, we're going through a lock. So I got dressed and went up on deck to have a nose and a look. Morning. We talk quietly because it's like 5 to 5 or something like that. Really early. I was wondering all of yesterday when we'd go through a lock. And then I woke up to go to the loo and discovered we were going through a lock. So I thought I'd come upstairs and have a look. So this is the front of the ship. And that's the rest of the ship. The captain was on the little side bit. I thought it'd be loud going through locks, but it's so peaceful. When I open up my little Juliet balcony, all I can see is the lock wall. So I thought I'd come upstairs to have a look. We're nearing Amsterdam. We're in Holland now. We left Germany last night. Hello, here I am. Here's the lock gate. We're just slowly raising up. Oh wow, I think they just let the water in. You can hear it coming. And that gate is rising, as you can see. Ooh. I presume it's rising to let us out. Yeah, look. It's going to go up quite high. And then we have a river ahead of us. So I was standing here in my early morning kind of awakeness, looking at this dock gate thinking, I remember watching Jane McDonald go through a river cruise lock like this, and I remember the water falling down. So I rushed to the deck below to hide underneath a lip because I knew that all the water would drip down and drip down quite spectacularly. So I hid to keep dry. Luckily, I was awake enough to remember that that would happen. Oh God, I came underneath the little lip there. It's raining. Well, it's not raining, but it's water from the duck gate. I then headed to bed for a few more hours and then got up for breakfast to meet the gang. There's a great selection of breakfast on board Viva One. There's this menu with hot options, and the omelettes were really nice. And then you also had a breakfast buffet with all the continental stuff, cereals, fruit, and an English breakfast buffet kind of thing. Although it was a European breakfast buffet, I don't know. But it was delicious. The food was great. Lots of fruit juices as well. Hot drinks they served to you at your table. Breakfast was really good. After breakfast, we hadn't yet docked, so returned to the cabin to sort of get ready for the day and noticed this lovely family of swans. So sweet. But you don't get this on ocean cruising. 2 swans and their babies. Hi. Oh, they're cute. They're gonna get squished though. Yeah. Oh. Stubborn swans. You need to move or you'll get squished. Oh. It's for your own good. I loved being so close to the wildlife, but oh, bless them, they needed to move because you can see our boat, well, our ship, and the side there where we dock. We were waiting for them to move so that we could move alongside. And the man, bless him, was trying to get them to go. 3 of them were going, 1 of them a bit more stubborn. We had these receivers on charge in our cabins, and they're the receivers that we'd use for walking tours that we went on with VIVA Cruises. And we would be able to listen to what the guide was saying. They'd have one with a microphone, and then every night you charged it up in your cabin, which I thought was a great idea, because I've been on other tours where the tour guides have given you these and you give them back, but to have the same one for the week seemed great. This one's actually a day late, but this was up in reception and also on your TV, and it would show you what was happening for the day. So the itinerary of what was happening on board, so you can see like coffee and cake, and then entertainment in the evening. And this would change each day, so it's useful really to show you what was going on the ship, so you didn't miss out on anything. And then at the bottom it had the cocktails of the day. So cocktails and all drinks were included in the cruise fare package that you book with VIVA Cruises, and they were delicious, really nice. A favourite of our groups was tequila sunrise and Aperol spritz, and then I think we also had some Negronis on our last night. But yeah, the cocktails were fabulous, and the choice was brilliant for a cruise line. I don't know, I assumed on a river cruise there wouldn't be as much choice as an ocean cruise, but there was, definitely. As with ocean cruising, I was admiring the neighbours. So Rosa Senna docked next to us, and she was huge. She was easily sort of double the size of us. And the people looked to be having fun. I assumed of river cruising, which did happen later in the holiday, but that we'd all dock next to each other and walk up and over everyone's ships, which, again, we do later in the holiday, and I show you. But in Amsterdam, we did not. There were different sort of areas for ships to dock, and actually behind this Rosa Senna, there were 2 Viking river cruise ships docked, and there was a quay that people could walk down to get to them, so there's no need to walk over different ships. And here's our lovely ship, VIVA ONE, all docked in Amsterdam. Today we're in Amsterdam. We're going on a tour. Very central. And here's our bus. Viking over there. And yeah, we're going to go on our tour to Floriade, a flower expo.
On the side of the street, which is now the Jewish Museum, were the canals. Now here's the fleet, every day. And there you see Sean Connery going on that bridge on the left. It's called the Skinny Bridge. Much further down the bridge.
We headed off to Floriade really early, so it was nice and cool, but we were too early, so we wouldn't be able to, we would get there too early. So the tour guide took us for a little guide around Amsterdam sort of city centre. So we had our guide talking to English and us, and the rest of the ship, the rest of the coach had their guide in German. And then we arrived in Floriade for its opening time. So the Floriade Expo is a huge sort of flower expo that's held every year, but every 10 years in Holland. And Holland, I mean, the Netherlands are famous for their flowers. We were very lucky we had a guide take us round, so she knew the best spots to go to, and she took us to the best spots, and it was great. We also had the receivers on, so we could hear her as we were wandering round. It was it's not an excursion I think I would have chose to go on usually, but oh my God, it was really great. And the theme of this year's expo is like looking into how cities can work in the future. And it was interesting seeing different countries come and show off sort of their ways of dealing with the future in a sustainable and sort of eco way. It was really, really interesting.
Inside they've used recycled wood. Now these things are for the insects, for the bees.
Beautiful. These environmentally friendly sort of buildings with flowers up the side was gorgeous. And then we were shown how shipping containers could be used to make homes. We then went to a display by Flevoland, a area of the Netherlands, and they had a VR virtual reality experience where you rode in a hot air balloon above Flevoland. And Flevoland is like most areas in the Netherlands are reclaimed from the sea, man-made areas, and it's meters below sea level. So they took us on this hot air balloon to catch a glimpse of the sea clay, the nature of the environment, the water and the fields, and showed us like how they grow food in that area. It was fascinating. And I've never done VR before, but it was so realistic. This was a model, combine harvester, some sort of agriculture equipment, which just showed, how important Flevoland is for, they were explaining that it would be Europe's kind of food garden, and how its purpose of being designed and built was to feed mouths, as created by human hands, and has a vast fertile field. And they were just showing the innovation in order to grow food for the world and the sustainability of it all. It was really fascinating. If you get a chance to go to a Floriade Expo, I highly recommend it. I think next year's is in Doha. So we were so lucky to have a local guide walk around with us and show us the best places to go to. All these different pavilions were so interesting. They were showing ways to naturally build a house with very renewable sort of energies, green technologies. It was fascinating. All the things that people were the different building materials that was sustainable. And they had houses built like that. It was just fascinating, really, and just a really good place to go, and a great place to take children so that they understand, how we should look after the future. This is the China garden. Everything's made on bamboo. Many different countries came and showcased how they work really with the environment to find ways of sustainability, to farm, to grow food. And it was fascinating. There were so many different countries there. There was UAE here, there was Thailand, Germany, India, so many different countries. Unfortunately, there was no British entry, and there was no Ukraine entry, bless them either, because obviously due to circumstances in that country at the moment, but they left a nice area free where the Ukraine would have presented and popped up a Ukrainian flag, which I thought was nice.
The walls are 3D printed using a recyclable plastic material. And thank you.
Hey,
Thank you. Thank you.
It never dawned to me how quinoa would grow, so it's interesting to see quinoa growing.
the fish are enjoying it.
Now, this was a fascinating, well, I think it was a home, but it was built using, a mushroom and fungi growing. So it was a growing building. And it was hot that day. I mean, it was a day that reached about 38, 39 degrees in Amsterdam. But so it was already at sort of 10, 11 o'clock in the morning in the high 20s. And it felt really cool in there. So, yeah, they were on to something. Qatar Pavilion was really interesting. This is like one of their traditional pigeon huts, coops. So the idea is the pigeons go in through the holes and then the people are able to collect the pigeon manure and use that as fertilizer. This was 3D printed with concrete. It's fascinating. We then went on a cable car ride. So there's a cable car that goes across the whole of the expo. So it was interesting to get a bird's eye view and see where everything was. Because in the time that we went, we were not able to see everything. That's why it was really good to have a guide with us who was able to show us what she felt was the best. And I mean, we agreed with her. What she showed us was spectacular. I love these little bug hotels. I keep meaning to get one for our allotment. We then moved on to visit the Sudan pavilion and then the India pavilion. And then our final visit was to the Thailand pavilion. They were all very beautiful and colourful and showing off the works of their countries. In the Thailand pavilion, they were talking about insects being the future, a protein source. And I'm not sure I'm going to eat any crickets, but a good idea. Sadly, it was then time to leave, and we were getting onto our coach for the short coach journey back from Almere back to Amsterdam. It was really interesting to know that in the future, this area where the expo is will be created into a neighbourhood. So, as with most sort of cities in Europe and stuff, there is a lack of sort of affordable housing for the people, for the locals. So they are going to build lots of houses there and have it as all the gardens and keep them and have it as a nice new neighbourhood within easy commuting distance of Amsterdam. Back on board our ship, we all headed to the Riverside restaurant for lunch together. The lunch menu and dinner menu actually is always up on a notice board in the sort of atrium of the ship, so you can decide whether there's something you fancy eating or not. It's up there in both German and English, so you can have a nose, see if something takes your fancy and decide whether you want to eat on board or not. I had the cordon bleu of chicken, which was delicious. Hi, I'm in my cabin on VIVA ONE. You can see out there the coaches for trips. I'm right on the shoreline, I guess. I think we've gone up a little bit since earlier. Yeah, so on a press trip currently on VIVA ONE with VIVA Cruises, and it's so much fun. I am now going ashore in Amsterdam to go on a luxury canal boat tour I've booked myself, and catching up with the others later for dinner. Yes, I think someone's going to the Van Gogh Museum, someone else might go cycling, so yeah, there's lots of us doing lots of different things. It's nice in here in the air conditioning, but now I'm going to walk to where my canal boat goes from, and I will show you what that's like and give you some information about that. But I booked it on Vieta last night, and yeah, looking forward to it. Our stay in Amsterdam is an overnight stay. Our ship was due to leave the following morning at 5 a.m. So people were able to stay out late if they so desired. Some of our group did, but some of us also stayed on the ship. The cruise blogger contingency kind of stayed on the ship because we wanted to experience what the ship had. But the lifestyle contingency and travel contingency took the opportunity to go off and have dinner ashore and some drinks in the red light district, I think. But it was great. We were able to all sort of share stories of the night before at breakfast the next day. And that's the joy of the cruise, really. You can do, as much or as little as you want. You can stay on the ship, you can go ashore. That's the brilliant thing about cruising. You can just do what suits you. Of course, I had to get some shots of the ship. You can see the Skylar flag up there, the parent company that owns VIVA Cruises. And then me posing with VIVA ONE. VIVA ONE, just beautiful. I love her colours, the blue and white. Then you've got Arosa Senna, and there's a Viking Guyman. It's so hot here, but I think it's hot in London, so I can't complain. So there's a countryside sightseeing if you want to do whilst you're here, and that's right by where the river ships dock. There's another Viking ship. We've got the best berth. It was nearing 40 degrees in Amsterdam, and I think this paddling pool was for dogs if they were out. So it's a nice walk around the canals to go to the tour that I was to take. It was hot, but walking in the shade and with my cap and sunglasses on, it was pleasant. I think this might be... Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it is. From the pictures on Vieta. Looks nice. I think there's only 12 people on it. That's so cute along with me. It's nice to see the glass sides open in this weather. It looks cute. Massive brownie points for the cruise, for the river cruise guide. He had a huge sort of champagne bucket full of ice and had ice lollies for everyone. Oh, they were so lovely and refreshing on this hot day. I'll leave you some information in a box about this river cruise, and I'll leave some in the description of my video as well. It was really good. It was a bit more expensive, but drinks were all included, as were snacks. And it was just a really good cruise. The man was great. He knew his stuff. He was a local. The group was small, which is what appealed to me. There were a couple from America. Actually, no, 2 couples from America and 2 couples from Sweden and me. So it's a nice small group, 9 of us. I think the boat could hold 12. But yeah, it was great fun, and everyone chatted and got on.
I mean, you might have seen that you can rent like a private boat yourself without a license.
All soft drinks, alcoholic drinks and snacks were included in this tour. With it being such a warm, sunny day, it was a beautiful time to spend on the canal. And sailing along, there was a nice breeze, so it was lovely. But don't forget sun cream, you don't want to burn. I'm so surprised more of these peddlers went out. They look like great fun.
Most of the pupils use the rear door entrance to open the school. If you walk from the coffee shop around the school, into that and they use these boats.
That's cool.
It's just not true, guys. No. There's several urban myths. One of them is that while they are two daughters, the boat are married without gifts. They decided to build themselves a bit, but it was so narrow, one person was so they're now sliding to the old city where the buildings are younger than the modern canals. Because when we started dealing with canals, these houses were still made of wood. Now guys, this is why you come with us, right? The smaller boat rides. You get to sail the smaller canals. Now we're doing the 3 tours today. This is the second one of the day, and I'll give you the 3 different ones. So the first
Awesome.
I mean, the Netherlands is by far the best country.
Nina. It's a science museum. We rescued that teddy.
Smokers in the Zen shop, served in a lovely bonus of horseradish with a glass of Chardonnay. It's absolutely delicious. It's absolutely amazing. Then you go to the brewery, you order a tasting, it's like a pie.
Our canal tour guide even showed us there were storks nesting on top of this building. They were lovely. This is the boat I've just been on. It's lovely. I really highly recommend it. I'll put details on here so you can see what it is. It was about a 30 to 40 minute walk from where the ship was docked, the river cruise ship now, which I thought going back, I thought, oh, do you know what, in the heat, I think I might just get an Uber, which is a possibility you can do. However, I was like, no, I want to walk. And actually, it was very pleasant walking in the shadow of the buildings, because the buildings are so tall. There was part of the street that would have a shadow cast on them, and it was a really pleasant walk. It was hot, really hot in Amsterdam that day, sort of 38, 39 degrees Celsius. However, walking in the shade, and there's a nice breeze between the big tall buildings, it was very pleasant. So there were loads of canal cruises, terminals everywhere, so you don't have to book in advance if you want to do just a basic canal tour. They did them all different languages, 10 languages I think it says on one over there, an hour tour. But I'll show you mine, which was 2 hours, and it was luxury and like all drinks and food included. Snacks, not meals. And ice lollies because it was so hot. And by Amsterdam Central Station, beautiful building. And my riverboat is behind. I have a cruise leaving from Amsterdam in September, and I'm going to get the Eurostar to this Amsterdam Central Station, I think. And it's really central, surprisingly enough, called Central Station. There's a Hilton hotel next door, which I think I will stay in just because it's so convenient. And then behind the river is one of the main rivers, and then that's where the cruise ships and the river cruise ships leave. And straight opposite Central Station, there's I Am Amsterdam Visitor Centre. That's useful if you're here for a while. And actually, if you're here by a big ocean cruise ship, you'll also dock behind Amsterdam Central. And this will be on your walk into town. Now, on this trip, I didn't actually go on these ferries, but I can see online that they're free, apparently, and they take you over to by the Amsterdam Tower. I'm not sure if that's how I pronounce it, because I didn't visit on this visit, but I hope to on my next visit. So the Amsterdam Tower is that tower in the sort of central screen behind the ferry, and you can climb to the top. Well, you can go in a lift to the top of there. There's the tower. I think if you book online, it costs about 14.5 euros. And there's an observation deck where you can look over Amsterdam, and there's also like a VR experience, and there's a swing that George and Dan had been on in the past and was showing us. You've got to be a bit of a daredevil. You swing kind of like over the edge of the building. I'm not sure it's something I'd happy to do, but I'm happy to watch others do it. And then just like that, I was back to where our ship was docked with its other little friends. Again, a picture of our Rosacina and the beautiful VIVA ONE. It's everywhere we stopped, there was great opportunities to take photos of the ship, actually. And she is a beautiful ship. So then in the evening I had dinner. Half of the group stayed on the ship for dinner and half went and made the opportunity of the very, very late departure from Amsterdam at 5 a.m. the next morning. Dinner on board of VIVA ONE was always delicious. There was always lots of choice. It was more German themed, but clearly being a German cruise line, you can't complain at that. The food was delicious, so there was so much choice, and there was big portions, and the service was brilliant, really quick, and service with a smile. What more can you ask for? Thanks for watching my day in Amsterdam on VIVA ONE with VIVA Cruises. I hope that you will stay around and watch my trip to Horn on the next vlog, due to come out soon. Thank you.